Hey guys, this is Steve at SteveHuffPhoto.com. I'm here today. It's Saturday morning at around 9 a.m. and UPS has just delivered the Sony RX100 to my door. And after seeing some first users reports and reviews, it looks flat out amazing. This thing is getting rave reviews everywhere. It's a small compact camera with the same size sensor as the Nikon V1, a 1-inch sensor, but it packs 20 megapixels onto the sensor. So when I first heard about that, I was like, oh man, Sony's gonna screw up because they're packing all those megapixels, and that usually leads to lower dynamic range, lower color, more noise, and it usually is just a mess. But from what I've seen online, the photo quality and color is so rich from this RX100, and I was very impressed by it. The size, it's very small. It's almost Canon S100-like, but it feels much more solid in the hand. I was never a fan of the Canon S100 because to me it always felt very cheap, and I wasn't even a fan of the image quality, and that has a much smaller sensor. This has a bigger sensor. It feels quality. It feels like metal, and the design is really sexy, really awesome looking. It's got a fast lens. The aperture starts out at f1.8. And you have a 29 to 105 zoom range on this camera. So that gives you a 3.6 optical zoom. It also has a 7.2 digital zoom, but I never recommend using digital zoom because it always degrades the quality. It's a very simple looking camera. You have a high quality LCD on the back. You have a flash. You have your control dial on top that controls your settings: aperture priority, program, shutter, manual, sweep panorama, scene modes, intelligent auto modes. And like I said, it's very simple. You have your battery compartment on the bottom, your HDMI port. You have a USB port on the side, and that's where you will charge the battery, because this comes with the new style of Sony battery charger, much like the one in the NEX F3, that you plug into the wall and then a USB cord goes to the camera. I'm a fan of the older style battery chargers where you just put the battery on the charger. So I'm not really a big fan of that kind of charger. So in the box you get the charger, the USB cable, the battery, which I already have in the camera, and you also get a wrist strap lanyard type of cord cable that goes on so you can strap it around your wrist. But the RX100, the image quality I've been seeing online has been amazing to me, and this camera is just a small compact, something you can actually use as a backup to your larger camera or DSLR because the quality is actually that good. I'm going to have a review up at my site, SteveHuffPhoto.com, soon, but I got to get some use out of it. I just received this myself, so it's just as new to me as it is to you who are watching this. One thing I like about the camera, when you power it on, it powers up very quickly. Boom. The one thing I didn't like about this camera is it didn't have any kind of viewfinder, but everyone is saying that the LCD on the back is really good quality and you can use it in the sunlight as well. So that I'm going to be testing as well. Now the menu system looks just like the Sony DSLRs, something like the A57. You have all of your typical usual suspects here: image size, aspect ratio, quality, your drive modes, your flash modes, your focus modes, your autofocus area, your smile detects, your ISO auto. This goes up to ISO 6400, by the way. So I'm going to be doing all those tests with low light, good light, high ISO, low ISO. You have your metering modes, your white balance, your dynamic range settings. I always turn those off because I find they give kind of a fake look to the photos. Your creative styles, you have your usual things. You have standard, you have vivid, you have portrait, landscape, sunset, and black and white. So those are all there. Long exposure, noise reduction, high ISO noise reduction. I'm actually going to turn that to low. AF illuminator, steady shot. You always want steady shot on, and that's always good to have. You have your movie mode, so you pick your you want AVC HD or MP4. Then you have your settings, 60i or 60p. your image size because you could take images as you shoot video. Steady shot, of course, you want that on. Audio recording, red eye reduction, all of this peaking. You also have focus peaking if you use manual focus. So here's where you could set up all your features. There's a control ring in the front, so you can use it to control any of these features. Standard means you're controlling your aperture. So when you turn the dial in the front of the camera, you change your aperture. It's much like the Canon S100, except on the Sony, it's as smooth as silk. It feels like a quality precision instrument, actually. The S100 was all cheap, plasticky and clunky, in my opinion. So there, you just change your aperture if you're in aperture priority mode. If you're in shutter priority mode, this changes your shutter speed. So you have different things you can assign to the control wheel in the menu system. So it's all customizable. Function button right there, you can customize that. Function of the center button, so everything is customizable. So I love that Sony is doing that, because when they first released the NEX 3 and 5, they didn't have that feature, but now they've kind of gotten on the ball with that. So you have your playback features, your memory features, and so forth. So it's a very customizable camera, and the autofocus is very fast, takes pictures very fast. There's no slowdown of anything. You just basically, as fast as you can press it, it seems to focus. So that works very well. You have your movie button here, you have your display button here, you have the level gauge here if you want to turn that on just by pressing display. If you want to turn on tracking focus, the default center button is set to turn that on. So when you have that on, you're going to track your subject, and then you press it again to cancel. So down in here you have all of your displays, your shutter speed, your aperture, your exposure compensation. You push down, and there's your exposure compensation. So everything is very simple. This is a camera, like I said, you can use for, it also has a built-in flash up here. You can use as a backup to your DSLR because the photo and video quality is superb on this little guy. And you can also hand it off to your wife or your son or daughter if you're out on vacation, say, and they will be able to take high quality photos as well. So the Sony RX100, this is just my quick first look at the camera. We shut it down by pressing the power button, and it goes back in and the lens gets covered. Your zoom rocker switch is right here, and your on and off buttons right here. So it's a high quality point and shoot that puts to shame cameras like the S100 by Canon. And I'm going to pit it up against the Nikon V1, which you guys know that I really enjoy the V1. And the V1 has interchangeable lenses and a viewfinder that this doesn't have, but this has the pocket ability. You can throw this in a front pocket and have super high quality. So this camera's been getting a lot of attention, a lot of talk on the internet, and the first samples look pretty damn amazing. Video and photo coming out of this little guy. So this could be the solution for those wanting a pocket high quality camera. The design is very sexy as well. You got the Zeiss quality lens, so you're all set. There you go, the Sony RX100. This is just my first look. I will have my full written review with plenty of samples on my site at stevehuffphoto.com really soon. So be sure to subscribe to this channel on YouTube, and also be sure to check back at the site every day for something new. Thanks for watching.